Well, hello there, how is everyone? I hope you're all well on this marvellous... It's not Monday, is it? It's Tuesday. Terrific Tuesday. And you're looking absolutely terrific, by the way. And I hope that you have a fantastic week. Let's hope we all have a fantastic week. It's started well, with me knowing what day it is, kinda. But anyway, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. As in this little video here, I'm going to be calling out some idiots. Because I think it's about time that people get called out. Alright? Because I get it all the time. And it gets to the point where I think to myself, do you know what? I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Because, look, with respect to the Idaho 4 case, I get it. With respect to the Idaho 4 case and Bryan Kohberger being guilty of this crime, I am categorically stating that I personally don't think he did it. I don't think he did the crime. And I don't think he did it because of the shit that I'm seeing. I've seen an absolute lack of evidence to back up the accusations against him. I've seen things hidden. I've seen all of the court hearings, especially the last one. And when you consider that hearing was off the back end of multiple motions to compel. Now, a motion to compel is when you're asking for something and you don't get it. So you then have to go through the channels of forcing the court to come into session to force these people to give you what you've asked for, which you should be getting anyway. Because that's the way that the process works. You're accusing my client of doing something. Please can we have the evidence to support your accusations so that we can look at it, we can go over it, and we can plan how we're going to deal with it. And that ain't been happening. And the last hearing was just an abundance of almost like not wanting to tell the truth. Not wanting to tell the truth. Not being forthcoming with anything. It was I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, look. So that's where I sit. But equally, I sit in a camp where I ain't stupid. So I understand that Bryan Kohberger could indeed have done it. Because there isn't, and I've said this multiple times, there is no specific mould that moulds a killer. And he could have done it. He could have done it. And I have challenged people over the months and months of this, that if you're someone who truly believes Bryan Kohberger did this to the extent where you would be happy to see him executed tomorrow, then please let me know in the comments down below what it is that compels you to feel that way. And, you know, is that too much to ask? Is that too much of a difficult question? Because what I'm looking for people, because over here, we don't force people to think a certain way. We don't force people to look a certain way or say you can't be here because you feel a certain way about a certain thing. We don't. You know, this is an open community where people with differing opinions come together and we discuss it like adults. Some people don't. Some people are assholes. And we try and deal with them in, you know, in a way. But I'm going to go through this comment, right? Bearing in mind, this is a comment on one of my videos over the last few minutes, in fact, less than an hour ago. And it says, you are reading, I'll put it on the screen, you are reading way too much into nonsense. Remember that. I'm reading too much into nonsense. Bryan killed them. He definitely knows, or she, because they're obviously with Bryan or in the house and so on. He was on video 1 million times stalking this house, sorry. He was on video 1 million times stalking this house. They were home when they died. They were hanging out at home when they died. So they went to the party after. Does it matter? Who's lying? Nobody's lying. They went to the party. Yes, it's document. They went to a party and then went home. So, okay, then at 12, they didn't go to the party. Yeah, I mean, you're making such a big deal out of nothing. And that's from Serious Organiser. And these are the people who are following true crime and following, are they following cases? And I think to myself, this is the problem, right? And this is a serious issue. This is why you have to be so concerned about jury bias and things like that. Because the idea of a jury is to get a group of people together, normal people, who have not been tainted by the media rubbish, the garbage that's out there, the shite, and are a blank slate, which that's going to be hard enough as it is. I would say around where they're going to be extracting a jury from, that's going to be nigh on impossible. So what you have to do is try and ascertain as to whether they are viable to stand in a jury, and they can take in information, process that information, remain unbiased, and ultimately conclude an opinion based on the evidence alone, the stuff that's been put out to them. And there lies the problem, because it's how things get interpreted and how people listen to things. Like this person here, like we know that both the prosecution and the defence have both said that there is no evidence of stalking. There's no proof that Bryan Kohberger stalked these victims. Now, the flip side of it means it doesn't mean that he didn't stalk them. So we have to be fair. We have to be fair and say, look, it doesn't mean he didn't stalk them. It just means that they haven't been able to find proof of that. No evidence of that. So in a court of law, they can't say that he was stalking these clients if they cannot prove it. That's just conjecture, and that has no place in the courtroom. But this person here is saying that Bryan Kohberger was seen 1 million times on video stalking the victims. And you think, so is this someone who is following the case? Is it someone who's not following the case, has heard a specific piece of information, that's how they've interpreted it? Are they just an idiot? But I know that there are channels, just like mine tries to remain open, we try and remain in a way that lets people coexist with one another, the guilters and the on the fences and the pro-burgers, all coming together in unity and sharing their thoughts and feelings. But then you've got some channels that are absolutely pushing the guilt. Bryan Kohberger's guilty, he's guilty, and poisoning the community. And I still say it, if you're a content creator, if you are somebody, whether you're a content creator, you don't call yourself a content creator, maybe you just call yourself a reporter, or you're just someone who goes online and this is a hobby thing for you, but you've garnered some degree of community and you have some influence over a bunch of people, and you are pushing that Bryan Kohberger is guilty of this crime, then I would say that you're disingenuous. So you're disingenuous to your community. I'd say you are dangerous in the fact that you are trying to push things and try to make out that things exist that do not. Because I will challenge anybody to tell me what there is that exists that would be unable to be disputed about Bryan Kohberger doing this crime. I don't get it. So if you're somebody who's pushing to a community, or you're pushing to some degree of audience that you have, then I feel that you're doing them people an injustice. And again, as aforementioned, I would consider you dangerous, because that's not, you're doing it for one of two things, and that is either you are leveraging the thoughts and feelings of a community that already a large proportion of them feel that Bryan Kohberger is guilty, and you want to maximise your own benefits off of that, or you're saying it because you're scared that if everything goes the other way and they do indeed prove that he did it in court, that it will give you the ability to say, look, I was right. Just because you're anti-Bryan Kohberger now, if later on down the line he is proven to be guilty of the crime, and I mean absolutely proven guilty to be crime, it doesn't make what you're doing now right. Just doesn't. It doesn't make what you're doing now right. Because what if you're somebody now who has influence over others and you're pushing that Bryan Kohberger is guilty and you're trying to push that as fact, then you're in the wrong. You're not a good person. That's as simple as that. Now, some people may agree with that, some people may not. And if I'm brutally honest, I couldn't give a flying fuck. Because I'm categorically stating, if you are someone with influence over others and you're trying to push that Bryan Kohberger is guilty of this crime, unless you have access to shit that nobody else does, then you're doing it for disingenuous reasons. And primarily to benefit yourself. So that you can, like I say, come out later, if he is proven, and say that you was always right and think that you're some fucking amazing, that you know it all. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is guessing. Just guessing. I'm sitting here today saying that I believe Bryan Kohberger is innocent because I haven't seen enough. I have not seen enough to be able to say that he absolutely did this crime and should be punished by matter of death. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll catch you all in video 2.